All right, welcome into the first episode of So Let Me Ask You This, the podcast, which is two buddies discussing life's trivial topics and insignificant issues. I'm Martin Weiss, and I'm joined here with my buddy Ted, TK Kennedy. Taylor, introduce yourself.
This guy gave 4 names. What's going
Well,
on?
you have so many.
Hey, that's a fact. Ted, TK, Taylor, Kennedy, whatever you want to call me. Welcome. Martin, I appreciate you joining me on this. I appreciate myself joining you on this. I look forward to great questions, great answers of all of life's essentially bullshit.
So TK and I have been friends for long enough to where he was used to call TK. Now most of his friends call him Ted, which is why he has so many names, none of which his mother gave him. However, if you notice that he's being referred to as several different names, that is not me joking around. That is just the way that Taylor decides to be identified.
It's a fact. I've kind of fallen into it. You know, what's crazy is that growing up, I was always Taylor, right? And I never wanted to be Tay. I never was T. You know, I was Taylor. My family called me Taylor. And then get into high school where you met me, I became TK, and TK stuck around for so long, right? So I went to college. When I was in college, Ted ended up being a name that was picked up by me, and people never knew my name as Taylor. So when they heard Ted, they automatically assumed, the T in TK is Ted. So here we are. Now I have like 4 names and it's all good. So I answered all of them.
Well, my mama named me Martin. Most people call me Martin, and that's also what I answer to. But TK, I have a question for you. The federal government just recently passed a bill in legislation to make Juneteenth a federal holiday, right?
Okay.
Now, there's different levels of federal holidays. Obviously, you have the 4th of July, and you also have Flag Day. Some of them you know when they are. Some of them are kind of like days when, why is the post office not open? Understood.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're not yet sure which level of federal holiday clout Juneteenth is going to hold in the grand scheme of things. I imagine that I will be at work on Juneteenth going forward.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you will be or will not be. However, I imagine you will be working. So maybe it'll be June 18th or June 19th or June 20th, but you will be in proximity of white people.
Sure. Absolutely. 100%.
What are you going to do, TK, when a white person invariably comes up to you and says, Happy Juneteenth? Because as you know, Juneteenth is the celebration of when slaves realized that they had been emancipated.
Right.
A significant period of time prior.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily something that is a celebratory event, especially in that context. So what would you do in that moment?
You know what you respond, Martin? Thank you. No, really, thank you. Thank you for freeing us a long time ago and letting us know that we are free. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for not beating us any longer and holding us captive against our will. I had zero clue that this was now a federal holiday. It is great. All jokes aside, this is great. I do appreciate the government for the crumbs that we're getting on this. Now, with that said, I don't expect a Friday off. I don't expect the following Monday off. This week it is this week actually, but this year it falls on Saturday, so we don't have to worry about that. But I don't anticipate that they're going to treat this like 4th of July. Maybe make it an optional thing, I guess for African Americans and their
absolutely not. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they're not. I'm trying to give them some bail here. I don't know, but I don't expect too much. I expect, maybe a company-wide email to go out or something of that sort, and they're gonna move on. I don't expect to treat it like it's 4th of July at all.
See, I feel like I don't need a happy Juneteenth I don't really need it from anybody. A day off work, sure, why not? But I don't need the happy Juneteenth, especially from like the white people in the office. It really reminds me of CTK. You grew up in Michigan, right? Spent most of your time in Michigan, going to Michigan public schools. Okay,
right.
Me, very opposite. Grew up in Louisiana, going to private schools. As a result, I had never heard of Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or these other Jewish holidays in which I no longer had school when I moved to Michigan on.
Right.
I didn't necessarily feel the need to tell the Jewish people that I knew, like, yo, happy Rosh
Yom.
Hashanah.
Yeah.
Happy Yom Kippur. I feel
Right.
like, you know, that's their holiday. Let them have it. They can have it. That's cool. So I
Right.
kind of feel like that's the same energy that I have with Juneteenth. And I was curious that, and when it invariably, see, like, it's interesting because in my workplace, there's no white person that's going to tell me happy Juneteenth because most of the people that I work with are black, especially on a daily basis.
Right.
So it's just interesting. I was just interesting to see. I was just curious about what you would say from that.
Well, thankfully, I mean, I've been at home for so long at this point that I'm kind of fearful, not fearful, but a little anxious of when I do have to return to the office of just behaviors. You know, I'm used to working in nothing but, you know, basketball shorts and flip flops. So to have to even interact with people, you know, to the slightest at the soup cooler or whatever, you know, it's gonna be weird. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. So I definitely don't want to go back to work and have to hear happy Juneteenth from any of my my Caucasian counterparts. I'm with you. I think you should keep it. Don't say it. Just, you know, maybe acknowledge it, but you know, I don't want to see everybody walking around in dashikis. You know, the government made that mistake, you know, trying to get Biden elected. I mean, it worked, but let's not do it at an office downtown Dallas. Let's keep that.
But let me ask you this though, because you say you want to work from home, but I read the news. Your house is kind of hot right now.
Hot, not mine. Let me tell you something. ERCOT, which is the council that controls all of the electricity grids in Texas. I'm not turning down anything. These people really recommended in 100 degrees. I put on Instagram today, my car read 100 degrees, and I have a white vehicle. My wife drives a black vehicle. Her car is hot. Okay. And you want our house to be 78 degrees while awake. And I think they said set it to 82 when sleeping. Oh no, that's not happening. It's not happening. I don't know what's going on, but they can keep it. First, we go through a snowstorm.
I'm about to say this is the same ERCOT made famous when Texas froze over, and they said, "Hey, matter of fact, turn your heat off."
You know, I don't get it. I'm like, okay, that you explain that by saying, you know, well, Texas never deals with this amount of cold, and you know, we can't handle this with all the people that you could, you know, kind of pull the wool over my eyes there. But Texas has been hot since the beginning of time. Hell started here. Okay, like it's not 82 degrees, Martin. Do you ride do you ride in your car with 82 degrees? No, you don't.
If it was, I mean, I don't honestly. Here's the situation. In the last 5 years, I've barely used air conditioning. I've barely experienced air conditioning because where I live, I just open the window. But I just don't know. Like, what do you do? It's 82 degrees indoors is insanity.
That's vicious.
But
dude.
like the idea.
It's vicious. It's just not, and it goes deeper. I mean, they recommended, okay, so they said set your thermostat to 78 degrees or higher. Or higher. Excuse me. I'm not a little guy anymore. I sweat. All right. Like I sweat. I do not want to, you know, sit in the comforts of my own home uncomfortable. They said set it to 78 degrees or higher. Close drapes and blinds. Turn off and unplug non-essential devices like lights, pool pumps, etc. Avoid using larger appliances like ovens, dryers, or washing machines. So not only do you want me to be hot, but you want me to be funky, and you want my clothes to be dirty. No. I'm good. I'll pass. But I'll tell you this: if my electricity goes out because I'm running my AC, somebody's gonna have to see me.
So, is there ever a level? I mean, you realize that y'all gonna be in that. So it's interesting because over the winter y'all was freezing. They basically froze y'all, thawed y'all out, and now they finna bake y'all inside these houses. Like y'all finna be in there like roast chickens.
You know, I think they said, okay, everybody wants to move here. You heard the economy was good, huh? All right, yeah, I got something for you. Because this makes no sense. Meanwhile, the governor, Greg Abbott, who some call Hot Wheels, meanwhile, he is building a wall with our money, our tax paying money, he's building a wall at the border. I think it's $40 million or something like that I read. Put that into the grids, buddy. What do you mean? I can't do it.
If he built the wall high enough shade will go over and will cover all of Texas.
Is that the plan? I see. You're thinking. You're thinking. Now, I guarantee that Greg Abbott hasn't turned his air conditioning off not one bit. I guarantee that. You remember Ted Cruz got on a flight to Mexico in the middle of a snowstorm. So I promise you that they got their pool pumps running. I bet that.
I actually read the power grid. Some of the power grid is causing trouble for Houston and Dallas airports to have flights that are leaving. So it's tough sometimes. People aren't even able to get out as hot as it is down there. I'll tell you what. I was literally thinking about moving to Texas because for what I pay in rent, I could buy a house in Texas.
Absolutely.
But
you just don't burn up.
If I can't keep it cool, I don't know if I really want to do it.
It's crazy, man. This is
like it's a little hot in here right now. Like I would like for the fan to be on, but I'm also under this ring light. After we finish this show, I'm gonna take my shirt off. I know, trust me, it's a good look. I know I'm playing. I'm gonna take my shirt off, turn the fan on, and the sun will be going down, and it'll be cool again.
And you won't be condemned for doing it. You won't be condemned for doing it. I turn my air on 72 and I have to worry about the air police kicking down the door. I don't know. This is ridiculous, man. I mean, the snow was enough, but the heat, oh no, I can't deal with that. I'm sorry. There's nothing that can stop that. Like you said, you didn't grow up with, or you grew up with air, but you don't have air right now, or you do have air, but it's not necessary.
I don't have air conditioning. I literally do not have.
That's crazy. See, living in Michigan and growing up in Michigan, I didn't have air conditioning in my house, and it was a-okay. It was perfectly fine. But here, it just simply is not. It's not doable. It's not possible. It's not feasible. It's none of those words that you want to put there. It's not. Okay. It is hot. It's already 100 degrees. It is just June, and this is not going to stop until probably October. So, no, I'm sorry. They'll have to figure out another way.
I got that kind of heat that make you want to go to church just in case.
I'm telling you, because they got the good AC and they got the good drinks.
You want to go to Kroger?
Oh yeah, we can go to Kroger for sure.
Yeah,
see, because I was pissed
just off. Just like go. Like if something just go.
No, that's a fact. Because actually, speaking of AC, they have good AC at Kroger, but what they also have is good jail sales for the formula, apparently. So, quick story time. I went to Kroger. I have a 10-month-old baby. Went to Kroger to get her some formula, as I always do, which is literally, Martin, across the street from my house. I mean,
and if you don't, and it just as someone who doesn't have children, so maybe speaking to our listeners who do not have kids,
sure,
going to get formula is like a 3 times a week thing. I know that because I stayed with TK for about 5 days and went to Kroger to get formula about 3 times.
Yeah, maybe everybody isn't doing that, but my baby is hungry. All right, she's eating, and I'm gonna feed her. I mean, if she's hungry, I'm gonna give her some food. So yeah, going to Kroger to get formula is, it's an often occurrence. But like I say, I go to Kroger every day for any and everything just because it's across the street. It's right there. It's my local grocery store. It's the perfect corner store, to be 100% honest. So anyway, everybody knows me over there. At least I thought, right? I go to get formula, normal day. Excuse me, can I have that formula right there? Sure. Which one would you like? The girl proceeds to open up the case. Yes, the case. First and foremost, I understand that people steal. But people steal everything, right? People, if you have the formula locked up, that means you should have the tomahawk steaks locked up. You should have the ribeyes locked up. You should have the whole chickens, the salmon. I don't understand
the longhorn steaks, especially because you know how rare
those longhorns.
Man, if anybody knows anything about longhorn steaks, please contact this show because we have questions.
I have so many.
I'll just leave it at that.
So many, but I don't understand why the formula specifically, and it's not just my Kroger. It's like every store almost. I guess Target doesn't. Somebody commented on my Instagram and said you need to start going to Target. They'll treat you better because I don't understand free formula. Okay, hashtag free formula. So Formula's locked up. They open the formula case, break the formula out of jail, and still would not release it into my custody. Now that pissed me off beyond festivity, because the girl who sees me 4, 5, 6 times a week held the formula and said for security reasons she would not give me the formula to scan myself.
Now, I will tell you that the first time that happened to me, it happened in California. And I looked at her like, what the fuck are you talking about? Excuse me?
Because you feel like a criminal, right?
I'm like, hold on. I mean, look, y'all didn't even follow me around. I get that. Cool. But man, this is a CVS. You really think I'm about to steal $15 worth of, and you know what? I'm like, you know what? Maybe she does think I'm about to steal this $15. And I was like, I ain't never come back to the CVS ever again. And then I realized the person behind me, she did the exact same thing too. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm just in a different world.
Yeah, but I don't think the cold part is I went back because I know everybody over there, and I mentioned it to one of the other workers that works there who I seem to have a decent relationship with. She writes me rain checks on briskets if they don't have them and stuff like that, at the sale price. And I said,
so she does her job. Isn't that what she
yeah, I guess so. But I mentioned it to her, and she said, it's because you're black. I said, yeah, I know. I know. But it's like, I was telling you the story initially, and it did bring up a solid thought, though. It's like, can you imagine seeing somebody run out of the store holding the thing of formula like Precious with the chicken?
Hey, you got to feed your kids, man. I get it. And yes, I can. It's hilarious. But however, I do understand it. But what I really want to know, like, how expensive is baby formula?
$36.99.
That hits.
It's $36.99. But my question is, again, if you're gonna if you're gonna lock up the baby formula in jail, why aren't other products like that? Is baby formula specifically the only thing stolen out of a grocery store? I would assume that crab leg. Ask Jameis Winston.
I'm about to say Jameis Winston just walked right out the door with him. But you know what's weird? The two things locked up in most stores: condoms and baby formula. What does this country have against procreation?
I'm telling you,
or have for procreation. I don't get it. What, they don't want you to have kids, and when they have kids, they don't want you to feed them. Right. The math ain't mathing.
It's a cold world, man. It's a cold world. But speaking of condoms, speaking of sex, all of those things, right?
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you, Batman. It just came out recently that Batman is apparently banned from practicing oral sex on Batwoman. It was planned for the HBO special. Tell me more.
Yeah, so essentially, as I understand it, the Capes Crusader of Gotham City was supposed to be pleasuring his female counterpart in some form or fashion. This HBO special, right? However, the owners of, I don't know, whoever, the powers that be, said that was a no-go, and that Batman, under no circumstance, was going to be performing any type of behaviors as such. Right?
No. What they said was heroes don't do that.
So my question to you then, TK, if Batman does not, I'm not here to judge anybody for their sexual proclivities one way or another.
Right.
However, now that we have this information that Batman does not, in fact, pleasure women in a 21st century way.
Okay.
Where does Batman rank now in your superhero rankings, and how does this news affect it?
In my opinion, Martin, this moved Batman to the top. And the reason being is because, let me tell you why. It's not, Batman is not doing it. They're not allowing him to. So that tells me that Batman wants to get down. They're keeping my man. They're holding him back. Whereas Superman ain't doing it at all. He's too entitled. So this right here, this put Batman in the spotlight that I think, let Batman eat the cat. Okay? Let him have at it. He already has the face mask cut out. He's ready to go. I don't understand why they're trying to hold my man back. We knew this.
Wouldn't it
Batman,
be let Batman eat the bat?
no, let Batman eat the bat. There you go. He can eat the bat and the cat because we didn't have a thing for Catwoman as well.
I believe so. I mean, there's always this weird sexual tension between these women who are trying to destroy Gotham City and the man trying to save it. I mean,
Yeah, it's like he gets turned on by beating him up. He gets turned on by slamming him to the ground. You know, like he could punch a villain's
masculinity.
Yeah, there you go. He could punch a villain's face out. You know, like he can throw the Joker all across the world and all across, you know, into any and everything. But you won't let my man explore his sexual desires? Come on, man. I put him at the top with this.
So Batman was pretty low on my rankings in general already.
Okay.
Because I feel like Batman's superpower, when you really get down to the bottom of it, it's one of those things. Now I was duped. Okay, I feel like I was duped.
It's white privilege. It's white privilege.
Yeah, and I loved Batman as a kid. Like, you know, they tell you can tell how old you are by who your Batman is. Well, we are in that awkward stage where our Batman is not Christian Bale, right?
No, it's not.
Our Batman is George Clooney, right? Like from Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Like Val Kilmer, George Clooney, right? The joke Batman movies, which apparently don't hold up in the canon of Batman movies.
Yeah, the ones with Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze
Thurman and Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, future governor of California, by the way.
Right.
Go figure with that one. But heroes don't do that. And they said, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers? They say no. It's just that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is also going down on someone. End quote from DC. So my thing is,
but it's a rated R special.
But don't you think in the 21st century, I keep saying the 21st century, don't you think in 2021, people want to see their superheroes getting a little dirty? People want to see their superheroes living a little life, right? I think Batman, part of the reason I have a big problem with Batman, okay? Yes, your superpower is white privilege. And with that white privilege and being incredibly wealthy, you use the excuse of what the abjectly terrible that your parents were murdered at a young age. I feel for you. But you use that excuse to go and beat up people throughout your city. If you're a millionaire, go get some therapy and enjoy life. What's going on, dude? It's not like he's not even living life. It's one thing. Like if Batman was living a Tony Stark type life, then I could get with you. But Batman is sitting on all this money and he's miserable. And people like that, I have no sympathy for because I get to understand that money can't buy happiness, but money should be able to buy you a route to get happy.
Well, maybe his getting happy is going down and they're not letting him do it.
But so though, Batman and his little utility belt, I guess it's not getting unbuckled in this DC special.
Hey, well, they didn't say anything about that. They said his face needs to stay up, you know. So now he's looking a little DJ Khaled-ish. You know, but
Batman is low-key like the DJ Khaled of superheroes if you mention it, right? Because what is DJ Khaled's superpower? Like, what is DJ Khaled's superpower? It's putting other people together. Batman's superpower is having a bunch of friends. And being super rich and using all of his tools, right? Like, it's not like he's Spider-Man who came out of a one-bedroom apartment, happened to get bit by a spider, and really kind of got it out the mud, right? Batman didn't get it out the mud. Batman got it out the Batcave. Okay.
Yeah. That damn. See, now he was not at the top for me, but I just think this moved him up a little bit, you know, for me. But I absolutely hate Superman. I hate Superman. The little curl in the front, it just bothers me. But so I will say though, that is why I do like Batman though, is because of what you said earlier, is that his movies, the movies they have for him, the shows they have for him, they do the rated R things. There's a Batman movie on HBO called The Killing Joke. It's a cartoon, but I believe it's rated R. It's a Joker and it's really good, but they get a little bit more graphic with Batman. So that's why this right here actually does confuse me on why they would limit that, because Batman is typically the one superhero that they allow to get a little bit more grimy and be a little bit more graphic, you know, as opposed to Superman or or maybe the Marvel movies. But one thing we know is Tony Stark was 100% getting laid.
So, and one of the things that I never really truly liked about Batman is the fact that, like, his mask only covers his eyes. So how can the people not just tell who he is? Okay, and so actually,
I go around looking for every shaved man in the city. Here, hold on. Yep, that's him. That's him.
Like, Batman would have had real trouble during coronavirus because his whole costume would have been fucked up because he had to wear the mask on top of his mask.
Yeah.
Now, as
can't breathe.
Coronavirus restrictions are subsiding now as vaccine rates are rising. Generally, people are catching coronavirus who aren't vaccinated. Like, I think I'm seeing several reports, like 1% of people who have COVID in hospitals are vaccinated, which means 99% of people in hospitals who have COVID are not
vaccinated.
Right? So exactly. So it's like I
just get the vax. I mean, I'm vaxxed.
That'd be my recommendation. And in any event, as of today, apparently in California, you no longer need to wear the mask. Okay. So TK, to me, this let me ask you this, because there's two things that I don't understand. Well, I should say this. There are many things that I do not understand, but in this instance, there's only one. Okay.
Got it.
I have been sitting in my house for over a year. I've recently traveled, but it wasn't until very recently. And through that year, I was thinking, I can't wait to get out of here and do something, right? There's certain things I was like, man, when I get out of the house, they ain't gonna hold me back. I'm doing this, that, and the third. What I didn't realize internally, I was saying I'm gonna fit 2 summers in one, which we are now seeing that energy all over the timeline, right? But at no point, TK, did I say I'm gonna get out of this house? I'm gonna get out of this room, this California apartment that I'm in currently, and go on a cruise. Royal Caribbean recently delayed a cruise ship after 8 crew members tested positive for COVID-19 in June of 2021. That's still happening. People are still testing positive. TK, have you ever been on a cruise? Would you go on a cruise?
I've been on a cruise before. This was 7th grade, 8th grade, somewhere around there. I was a child. I've been on a cruise. The cruise was decent.
So at that point, you're going on a cruise. You're going against your free will, right? Like, you don't have a decision in going to a cruise in the 7th grade because that's just what your parents are doing and you have to go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, it was 100% one of those. It was the church, actually, the church cruise. My mom did the church cruise, went on the cruise with my mom and the rest of the church. We actually had a great time. It was cool. I liked it because you got ice cream and food whenever you wanted, because everything is, but at the moment and during the time, because I hadn't done things yet, that was the greatest thing ever, right? Now that I've been to all-inclusive resorts, I would never step foot on a boat. It makes no sense. I mean, were they not aware of the beginning of the pandemic when I think it was Royal Caribbean, when those boats were docked and in another country / in America, and they couldn't get off the boat because everybody had COVID? Why would you subject yourself to getting locked on a boat again?
I can't. There's no a cruise. I see, because I watch a lot of local news.
Really?
So I see a lot of because of the time of day in which I get up in the morning, and there's not very much on TV, right? So I watch a lot of local news. I generally have it on. I have it on in the background. You know what I'm saying? I watch TV with the subtitles on because we can get. That's another story for another day. But I see TV stories.
With the subtitles too. That's how you know we're old now. Anyway, got it. Keep going.
I see stories every day, not every day, but at least once a week when the world was open. You see this horrific story of this cruise ship who's like sewage stopped, and all of a sudden guests were subjected to sewage in the room, right? Like, imagine you're waking up and all of a sudden there's literal shit on your floor. Okay. So then, you can't get off, or the cruise ship ran out of gas and they're now just on their third day stranded, or they ran out of food, or the cooling system failed, or just something. And you know what? When you're on a cruise, I don't think people really comprehend this, but you are in the middle of the ocean. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to leave. You can't go anywhere. If you go somewhere, you jump off that thing. First of all, the smack is over. Okay, over with.
Yeah. As soon as you hit that ocean, I mean, that ocean is gonna feel like concrete.
And then, God forbid you survive that thing, you'll be floating to a desert island, and you'll be doing your best Tom Hanks Wilson impression.
Yeah, facts.
I can't. Like, of all the different ways to spend thousands of dollars to enjoy yourself, I cannot understand for the life of me why people would subject themselves to lock themselves on a boat for 5 to 7 days. And of those 5 to 7 days, you get to spend like X amount of hours in a country. And if you don't get back, you miss the boat. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, what?
So have you never been on a cruise?
No, I've never been on a cruise before. Never been on a cruise that wasn't docking the same day.
Okay, got it. And you're not going on one.
I've been on boats.
Right.
Now, and for me to go on a cruise, it's gonna have to be. Now, I'm not gonna say never, because I'm saying never will put you in some uncomfortable situation. However, I will say this: for me to go on a cruise, it's gonna have to be something pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, people act like Titanic didn't exist. Like that was real. You know what I mean? I mean, now granted, you know, you don't have tons of boats running into glaciers and icebergs and all type of stuff, but dude, I mean, COVID might as well have been Titanic for the cruise ships. I'm surprised that people are even still willing to do this. Like, no. I mean, I definitely don't want to be locked in a boat with a whole bunch of strangers that could potentially kill me. I'll pass. The ice cream was not that good.
I'm not gonna lie. I was big and bad when I first came outside. And I was thinking, like, I can't wait to go outside and be around a ton of people. I went around a ton of people like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, nah. This ain't for me. No. I would like to go be around. Literally, what COVID restrictions were saying was like what my ideal party is. Like, groups of 10 to 15. You know,
everybody vaccinated
with spaces.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what were some things that you were looking forward to that you have done or will do now that we are easing our way? At least I hope we are easing our way. Now the rest of the world, especially Texas, they're not easing into shit. All right, they're just head first and going into things. But now that it is opening up, let me ask you, what is it that you are looking forward to or have done thus far?
So the number one thing I'm looking forward to, and it's interestingly enough, something that I don't think I ever would have been interested in going to prior to the pandemic, but now I want to go. I really want to go to a Moneybagg Yo concert. And I saw there's this like the Moneybagg Yo. No, honestly. No, bro, that song Time Today came out. And I was like, I need to find a way to support this man in another way, because that 2 minutes and 45 seconds speaks to who I am as a person.
Okay.
Like, it really speaks to who I am. Like, deep down at my core, like, he has a line in which he says eloquently, I don't like niggas, I don't like bitches, I don't like nobody. We can keep it gangster, we can keep it cordial. How would you like to go about it? And I'll be honest, I didn't know that was my motto in life until I heard him say it better than I've ever thought it. But I was like, you know what? I don't like a lot of people. I do like a lot of people, but there's way more people that I don't. Right? We just keep it at a bean. Right? I think the difference between me and a lot of other people is I do not interact with the people that I do not like. Right. I see people all the time going in back and forth. See, that's how people get caught up on Twitter and stuff like that. Now, if you say something I don't like, I didn't like that, so I'm just not going to answer. Okay, there you go. Take that one. That's free. But in general, I don't interact with people I do not like, so I don't have this problem.
Okay.
But Moneybagg Yo concert, and then like the perfect match would be like featuring Lil Durk and 42 Doug. That would be like my prime. That would be, and I would say like I didn't listen to a lot of music prior to the pandemic, I guess, because I was just listening to like just podcast. But like, yeah, that's it. That's it for me. That's what I want to do. That I like. That's like my bucket list thing. I mean, pandemic bucket list thing. Obviously, travel, see family, go to the beach. All that stuff is up there. But that's the thing that I was like, well, it was born in the pandemic. Like that's the thing I didn't want to do before the pandemic that I want to do now.
Okay. I don't have anything nearly as good. I'm gonna be honest. I could say sporting events, but of course, I'm a lot like you in the fact that when I first got outside, I was, let's go, we outside, we're vaxxed. And then I realized how uncomfortable it really is. I'm like, I don't miss sticky floors. I don't miss bumping into people. I don't miss having to say, excuse me all the time. None of that. I'm like, all right, I liked my solitude, to myself, but I'm boring, but I definitely, and it hasn't happened, and I don't see it happening in a really long time. I miss the movies, man. I really love movies. Like I really love I love watching movies in general, and I loved going to the movies. I really did pre-pandemic. And now that, COVID, even though, yes, you could catch COVID at the grocery store, of course, but I would rather not go sit in a movie theater for, 3 hours, while people step over me and, spill popcorn and things like that. So,
you know what? The whole idea, like you catch COVID in a grocery store, sure. But I'm not going to feel nearly as dumb catching COVID in a grocery store as I would feel if I caught COVID at the movies.
Watching the new Batman.
I could watch this movie at my house.
I can see Batman not go down at home. Yeah,
Batman who can't even get off like he's trying to get off. Okay, you trying to get off like you trying to get off, and Batman can't even get off like he's trying to get off.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, companies have shifted like the way that they are moving and operating so much though. Like HBO Max right now, bro, they look like the Warriors, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. Like they are nice right now. HBO Max is like, oh no. You don't need to go to the movies. We got you. It's just, you just don't get the full experience. You end up pausing it and going outside and falling asleep. All right, I'll come back to it. And, it's just not the same. The feeling I had watching Avengers Endgame on the night that it was released in a theater full of people was amazing. And I missed that, but I'm not willing to risk my life over it, so I'll be at home.
So here's my prediction for what's going to happen in the future. Okay, HBO Max and the like, Amazon. And here's the thing: about all these movies because they're pushed on you everywhere. Like there's this movie called Tomorrow War coming out. You know how I know? Because every time I turn my TV on, it's like Tomorrow War, July 2nd. Like, okay, right, and you know what?
The date for real. So yeah,
it's like 2 weeks from now. Like relax, everybody. Everybody chill out. Okay, but what I think is going to happen. Because unless you're like me and our friend Ty, proud owners of AMC stock, right? Like movie theaters are going to be running out of money.
To the moon.
I think like HBO is going to end up buying some of these like actual movie theaters, and like you'll be able to go to the movie theater, show that you have HBO Max, and see it in theaters for X amount of dollars. If you don't have HBO Max, you'll have to pay a different price.
Right.
So that way, but I think the whole idea of watching movies at the crib, I think that's here to stay.
Oh yeah,
because that movie Tenet, they tried to do it with Tenet. Christopher Nolan held out as long as he could. He was trying to hold out. He's like, no, Tenet is a movie theater experience, and this, that, and the third, so on and so forth. Just being boom in the middle of a pandemic, sounding completely and totally tone deaf. However, I sat there and I rented that movie, and I watched that movie, and I watched it again. And I determined this. Not only is it not a movie that I did not need to see in the movie theaters, it's a movie that I did not need to see. Like incredibly, I would have been mad if I had paid to go see that because, as you know, Taylor, as someone who goes to the movies, as a man who's been dating women for X amount of years, going to the movies is one of those double cost items. It's one of those things. You do it, you got to pay for it twice because you're bringing somebody else with you more often than not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you looking back, I paid twice for this. I paid twice for this movie, Tenet. People running backwards, up and down, and
it really made no sense. That movie made no sense. It was entertaining for what it was, but I'm glad that I saw it at home via HBO Max. I think it was HBO Max or Prime or whatever, but I think it was Max.
Whatever streaming service it was on.
Doesn't matter. I'm glad that I saw it for my monthly cost as opposed to having to pay my monthly cost on a date night with me and my wife, which, like you said, would have probably cost me upwards of $30. Tickets, snacks.
Speaking of movies and TV shows, if there's anything that you guys would like us to review, just drop us a note in the comments or on Twitter or anything like that, and we'll watch it and get back to you. We'll do like live watches or who knows, whatever. Because I was just thinking about that. Like I watched Ted Lasso over the pandemic, and it was something that I really enjoyed. But now that basketball season is winding down, we're getting down to 1 or 2 games per day. I'm running out of things to watch because me, all I do is consume sports on a daily basis. Right. Now I'm walking into this abyss. Do you understand it that like before flipping channels would give me anxiety? There's too many options. Now, not only there's too many options, I have a literal Blockbuster for our listeners under the age of 20. That's what Netflix used to be when it was in a store. Okay, so I have literal there's like 7 different Blockbusters between Netflix, HBO Max, Prime Video, and this, and that, and this, and that. And you know what I end up doing? I end up watching reruns of Jeopardy that I haven't seen yet. So
wow. All right. I didn't know that this was really a thing with you, dude. But you know what? Yes, I did. Because as we watched Jeopardy together when Aaron Rodgers was hosting, you really knew answers. And I was like, all right. Maybe I need to step up my Jeopardy or something. Meanwhile, I'm like I rewatch other things that I've already watched. Like I'll run back. Like recently, my thing was watching all of the Marvel movies in order, but not in order of release, but in timeline order. So I watched Captain Marvel first and finished with Endgame. But yeah, or really technically you finish with the Spider-Man. But regardless, I'll do that. I don't tend to.
How many hours of your life did that take to do?
Quite some time. I think overall they have the number out there, but it's some like 20, 30 hours, something like that.
Like, what do you think you could have accomplished in that time that you were doing that? Like, do you think you could have after you finished that movie marathon, do you have a level of like, hell yeah, now I just finished all the movies in a row? Or do you have this feeling? Because I'm
gonna be honest, I did. I'm gonna be honest, I did. Because I was doing other things while it was on. Like, I didn't have to sit down and watch Iron Man 1 start to finish and not miss a beat. Like I would be doing other things, but yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I did have a little bit of celebratory in my mind. I was like, yeah, I did that. Like watching Game of Thrones. I watched Game of Thrones all the way through like 2 times. I won't ever do that again, though. I won't ever do that again.
Game of Thrones is a walk that I will only walk once. But me and you, we can't be farther apart on these Marvel movies, right? Like I know that you're super into them, and I've seen a lot of them because it was like the culturally cool thing to do. But there's no way I could ever dedicate 30 hours of my life to watching these movies straight through. And if I did, I really want to watch fast. Like I say I really want to watch these fast. I keep seeing the Fast 9 commercial, right? Because here's really what it boils down to. We're in the NBA playoffs now, so I'm watching live television for the first time in months because I'm streaming all the games regularly. So now being in the NBA playoffs, I'm seeing all these commercials, right? Scoop, there it is, so on and so forth, right? So I see this Fast 9 commercial, and I remember going to see Fast and the Furious in the movie theaters, okay?
When they really raced cars, right?
Yeah, and I didn't think that this franchise was going to be a thing. But now that it is, I'm wondering if it's worth dedicating the time to watch 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then 9. Because I find myself consistently with no time, with all this time, all this free time, and and I'm wondering, let me ask you this, and ask the listeners this: is that something that would be a fruitful endeavor on my part? And would it be better than spending 30 hours watching the Marvel movies?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. I'm not dedicating that much time to Fast and the Furious. I saw the trailer for that. Man, they are out there catching cars physically with their hands now. It started out as them. the coolest thing in Fast 1 that was like, oh my God, this shit is wild, is when Vin Diesel hits the wheelie at the very end. He's racing Paul Walker, hits the wheelie, and his car goes up. That was like, oh my God. They are throwing cars at each other. Like it is now Fast and the Transformers. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Tyrese, what happened was Tyrese, he was in both. He came to the directors and was like, yo, I think Bumblebee might be down. You know what I'm saying? and here they go. Because like, I don't know what's going on now. Now they're superheroes. They really and truly though, that is a very good question, because I think they can compete with the Justice League and the Avengers. Like they may beat ass.
The Fast and the Furious crew.
Yo, yeah.
Vin Diesel. Furious crew.
Vin Diesel is the equivalent of Tony Stark.
Dom Toretto.
Yeah, Dom Toretto. Yeah.
Dom Toretto and the family.
Yeah.
It's all about family. I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. And
I watched the commercial for Fast 9, and they literally were driving a Hellcat off of what looked like a cliff in Brazil, and to catch a hook to then go around, and then like no seatbelts. Where are the seatbelts? Where are the seatbelts in Fast 9? That's what I'm trying to figure out. These people, I mean, Lord have mercy.
Vin Diesel is doing all of this in a beater. And a beater at that, bro. He doesn't even have a real shirt on. He has on an undershirt. He's doing all of this in a beater. Yeah, man. Yeah. These dudes are they superheroes. I'm telling you.
Dom Toretto or Batman?
Now Dom Toretto. Hey, hey, I know. Him and your girl, they doing some things.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, any man that's walking around in nothing but a beater all the time. Yeah, he's not letting anybody tell him he can't go down. Let me tell you something.
You know what? The amount of confidence that you have to walk around in an A shirt the entire day. The beater the entire day.
A shirt. That is what it's called, an A shirt.
I mean, listen, I'll do my fair share of push-ups. I get on the exercise bike. I consider myself to have a regular level of functional strength. If I need to move out of my apartment, I can. If we need to lift a couch, I got you. Open that jar, I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got like what they call grown man strength. At no point in time in my life am I walking around with these bad boys out unless my feet are stepping on sand or a basketball court.
Because you cannot catch a car. If you could catch a car, you would. You know what I mean? I mean, straight up. If you could catch a car, you can wear whatever you want to wear. Him and The Rock.
I'm just excited for the Fast 10 dodgeball crossover where you can dodge a car, you can dodge a ball.
You know what I mean? They straight up, because it's not stopping. It's not stopping at all. You know, at the end of 22 Jump Street, where they made fun of each other and said, oh, 23, 24 Jump Street. That's literally what Fast and the Furious has become. Like, they're going to be 80 years old, slow and furious.
Slow and not so angry anymore.
You know,
slow and lost some of the vigor.
You know what I'm saying? That's funny. That was funny. Man. Well, this is great.
Say, just like Fast and the Furious ain't stopping at 25 Jump Street. Well, I'll be explaining to my kids why this movie is still being remade. We will be back next week with Let Me Ask You This, which is our podcast. There's two buddies discussing life's trivial topics and insignificant issues. And as always, which is ironic to say because this is the first one, so there really is always. But
right.
If you guys are liking this podcast, please listen, rate, review, subscribe. We're going to be streaming it on Twitch. So drop in the comment section. We're going to be taking questions from listeners. So anything that you want us to do, talk about, anything that you would just like to hear me and my four-name friend across from me discuss, please let us know.
For sure, man. For sure. I'm with that.
All right.
Four-name friend. All right, man. Until next time, I'll catch you.